Welcome everybody. Anyone who doesn't know, I'm David Taylor. I am chair of SACRE in West Berkshire, and welcome to the meeting. Today we are being assisted by Thomas Dunn, who is acting as Zoom host of the meeting. And just as we start, I thought it would be quite nice just to repeat what was said at the recent council meeting about the situation in Ukraine. So if you'll bear with me, I'd like to start by saying that our thoughts, our prayers, and sympathies are with the people of Ukraine at this difficult time. The disturbing events of the last few days have been felt across Europe, the world, and also right here in West Berkshire. We are proud of our history of supporting refugees here in West Berkshire, and we stand ready to offer assistance as and when required. So I thought that just bears repeating, really. I'm sure we would all say yes to that, and you may even already be doing your part in that. So thank you if you are. So now I'm going to ask the meeting clerk, who today is Jess Bayliss, to give some reminders to members and other attendees about the way in which we conduct council meetings on Zoom.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a public meeting and is being live streamed on YouTube, so members of the public are able to follow proceedings. Voting on items will take place via a physical show of hands. If we need to adjourn the meeting at any point, the Chair will adjourn and will advise the meeting of the revised time and date of the meeting. If it is a short adjournment, you will be able to rejoin the Zoom meeting, otherwise a fresh appointment will be sent out. Do members have any questions about the way in which the meeting will be conducted? I can see no hands raised, so I think we're good to go. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any apologies, Jess?
Yeah, so I've received apologies from Pamela Voss, Mobashir Mushtag and Councillor David Marsh.
Thank you. So item 2 is on our membership. Maria Pratico has moved away. So she's resigned from SACRE. Obviously, she now lives in Northern Ireland, so that would be quite hard to join us. Although, anyway, we are thankful for Maria's involvement over the years, and she's now resigned from SACRE. We've got 2 new members, as it were, in the pipeline. Dilip Ladiwa in Group A, and Ladwa in Group A, and Rosanna Obsia, who was formerly Rosanna Luca, who I think is with us there. There she is, Rosanna. So she's in Group C, but the way it works is that new members have to be formally recognised by something called an individual decision at the council, and this process is underway, will be confirmed with all members via email, and that, Janet says, will be in place by May this year. So look forward to that. But thank you for joining us, Rosanna, and also Dilip, who I don't think is here today, as far as I can see. Now, there was something about the LA advisor role at our last meeting. It's good to have Rose with us. I think Rose took away the action last time to see if she could find a friendly primary head teacher who she could tap up to come and join us as LA advisor. Rose, how'd you get on?
Well, I have had a few people say that they're unfortunately able to, so that has taken a bit of time. I have spoken to one of our heads who's a federated head of both a church school and a non-church. I thought that would be quite interesting. She couldn't make this meeting. I have sent her the outline, David, that you sent us. So I'm hopeful that she'll be able to confirm, but she's literally still backwards and forwards there today. So apologies that nobody's here in this meeting, but I'm on it. So I'm hoping that it will be Kate House, and she's the federated head from the Ilsleys in Hampstead Norris, but she's yet to confirm with me.
Oh, thank you so much for making progress with it, Rose. That's brilliant. And that would be lovely to have someone from up there. So yeah, that would be great. Anyway, we'll wait to hear for the next meeting, shall we? Yeah. Just had a note in from Robin Sharples, Jess, to say he's trying to find the link to today's meeting. Could we please send it? Have you got the link, contact for him?
Yeah, I can get that sent to him, that's fine.
Brilliant, thanks. Okie doke. So then item 3 is the minutes from the last meeting. And as chair, I propose to accept the minutes of the last meeting held on the 2nd of November 21. Does that find a seconder? Thank you, Val. Seconded by Val Bolan. I'll put that to the vote. Ask for a show of hands if you're happy with the minutes from last time, please.
Okay, I can confirm that those minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Now, actions not covered last time. I couldn't see any actually. Has anyone else got any actions not covered last time? If not, we can move on to the budget update and action plan with David.
Good afternoon, all. Hopefully, you should have in your pack the latest action plan. So I'll just let you scroll down to have a little bit of a look at that. The action plan, as you're probably all getting very used to me saying now, is a mixture of the things we have to do and the things we'd like to do, and involves our hub commitment too, which I know we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. I mean, the good news is that we are covering the things that we statutorily have to do. We have our meetings. We are fortunate enough to be quorum most of the time. We have the annual report, and we subscribe to NASCA, and we attend events as and when, and these events are fed back to yourselves by people like myself at these meetings. And then we added the monitoring the locally agreed syllabus to the action plan, because this is an ongoing thing that whether it's just been launched or not, we always keep an eye, particularly in the light of what's going on nationally with new things coming out all the time. So we keep an eye on that, because sometimes people do actually change their syllabuses mid-cycle. I mean, that's not something that we're going to do, but it's if you had a really old syllabus, for example, then that is what sometimes people do. Then in the supporting teachers, we have the ongoing newsletters and primary and secondary networks that we run, and you will have you've seen the newsletter is attached. There's a separate point on that, so I'll come back to that later. And then finally, the third part is to support the ongoing work of the hub. And I know that having spoken to SACRAs in other parts of the country, there's quite a lot of what should we say? People are impressed with the way that the hub works and pitches together to work on things that actually bear fruit, like the Real People, Real Faith videos, which I know we're going to talk about later on. So these are all things we put on there. We have a couple of things that are on italics because they're things that we could do. We don't do at the moment, but we could. So the very last point was about whether we would have a hub conference this year. So I know that's something we'll talk about later on, but having a teacher conference is something SACRAs do try to do annually, because it is one of the main ways of getting some really good quality CPD and showing teachers that we want to be involved and to offer support. So does anyone have any questions or issues with anything that was on the action plan, or think anything's missing that should be on there? Please do say. Okay, thank you. If subsequently you do look at it and think, oh, how about this, then if you just suggest things to us, then we do have a budget. We have certain things we're committed to, but we do have some leeway to do certain things, and we're always looking for creative ideas about how to actually make the best use of that.
Thank you, David. Just talking of the budget, I did ask Jess if she could have the latest version of our budget ready to share. Is that okay, Jess? Thank you. If you could do that.
Just share that now. Can everybody see that? Okay.
So obviously this is the last look that we have of our current budget, 21 to 22, and it had the normal figure, which is, I say normal because it's the same figure we've been working with for a few years, 4840. And then we had £5,000 of COVID recovery funds in the year before, of which we had 2,122 left. So we were still using up some of that money, and that's just to show you how we've spent it really. And it's divided into the annual budget and then the COVID recovery funds down below. And just in case anyone wants to ask any questions about that, really, just think it's important that we all see that. One thing to note is that...
David, I've got my hand up on a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Lynn. Go for it, yeah.
It says Wokingham Council contributions to SACRA.
So Wokingham Council is the way that we have been paying our contribution to the hub. I was just about to say, actually, that that's the last time you'll see that, because it's now going direct to the Diocese of Oxford, which provides the services of Anne Andrews for us, who chairs our hub. And so Anne does an enormous amount of work for us, actually. So, yeah, that's the last time you'll see Wokingham Council, but it's just a historic thing that that's the way we used to funnel the funds through them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not very good at seeing these hands up on Zoom meetings. Just if I don't see it, please shout at me. Yeah, anything else that you want to ask on that? Okay.
No hands raised.
All right, thanks very much, Jess. Right, so that takes us next then to schools. And Janet has given me a little note about the exam results. She has made progress with this and she has got some results in. So if you're a teacher here and you've given your exam results or you've prodded your head to hand in the exam results, thank you so much. Janet is really keen to have them all in, and she says she's going to forward the information to us following the meeting. So we look forward to those. As you can see from the budget, one of the things that David does for us very faithfully and fruitfully is run network meetings. So he's just going to report back a bit on that.
Thank you. Just as an aside of that, last week I went to the Southwest Sacre conference, which was something we circulated, and that's a yearly thing. So next year, if anyone is able to go, it is one of the few events that's actually put on as Sacre member training that's outside of NASACA. And one with that's okay. With the with that conference, I co-ran a session with somebody from one of the Southwest other Sacres about what Sacres can do for teachers, and what teachers are looking for, what sort of support, what sort of help, and so on, and basically trying to understand the role of the RE leader. And it was very interesting because Laura, who I ran it with, is freshly out of the classroom. She's now just become an advisor. Now, I've been out for about 7 or 8 years now, but Laura's just this second gone, and we're all very aware of how things have changed. So one of the key things that some Sacres don't do is actually run these networks, and they are seen as really valuable. We've been doing this for a while, certainly since before I came too. And so we've always had a regular cohort of people that have come. What I've seen in the few years I've been here is that some coordinators have stayed the same, which is great. Some have come and gone, some have moved on and have passed on to other people. And that is a fairly natural thing that happens with RE. So we do have a mixture of experience and really, really fresh to not only RE, but often to teaching as well. Our next primary meeting, we have one of these every half term. Our next one's on March 29th. We've got 14 signed up already. The invitation only went out at the end of February, so that's really positive. I'll send out a nudge to the people whose direct email addresses I have as well, just to see if we can get some more. We still have a little area, I think, of schools where we're not sure who the coordinator is, and I think we're slowly and surely increasing the personal email address database so that we can directly get to them and basically offer them the support directly and send the newsletter to them directly as well, rather than just to the school. So yeah, the primary network, this next one is going to be rolling out some of the things that came from Strictly RE, and I can see I've got a slot on that later, so I won't duplicate. We We had a mega network actually last term in which we joined up with some other folk, and I got a national speaker, Dr. Kate Christopher, who I knew from my time at Culham St Gabriel, talking about a new Key Stage 2 and 3 resource, free resource, I think called Faith in the Town, I think it was. It was to do with the links between religion, or Christianity in particular, and the Industrial Revolution. And it's all part of this looking at RE through different lenses thing now, and looking back at history and realizing that we have a bit of a duty to go back and re-examine the context of when things happened and why they happened. So that was a really interesting one, and we were able to circulate resources free to that. I'm going to try to get Kate to allow me to offer it to the people who didn't come. I'm sure she will be absolutely fine with that, and so I'll put information about that in the next newsletter, which comes back in April. The secondary networks, as we know, are run separately. Winnie Ollock runs those as part of, I think, the subject SLA agreement thing. And I go along when I can. I've been in touch with Winnie already, because the next one is one where I'm due to be away, but she's going to record it. I'm going to keep in touch and liaise with that group, because it's always fascinating to hear their issues when it comes to the relatively new GCSEs, and actually it would be nice to bring Claire in at that point, because she is part of that. So Claire, can I just ask you to comment on that?
Yeah, so I will be going to the secondary network. Also, this is quite I don't know how to navigate this one. Winnie's job was advertised on TES. So the leadership at the school, that St Bart's of RE, they are very passionate about it. They've got outstanding on Ofsted and things. So I don't think it's one for us to be worried about, but it's one to just note that Winnie's role has come up. So I will find out at the network on what's happening, and I think the network's really nice to figure out who is where and doing what, and I will report back to the next SACRE once we know.
Thanks, Claire. Could you let me know what you find out on that one? Because it is interesting how some people have gone between different authorities, different schools are just sort of over the road, but gone into a different authority. So I know some have come over from Reading and from Slough, for example. I know it's Rose, you got your hand up. Shall I come to you now?
Yes, David, just on the point of the primary networks or the secondary, anything that you want me to send out to all the heads, then do. So I've got a kit email. They go out every Thursday.
Oh,
so if you wanted to send me something for this week, you often get quite a spike in attendance once they're sent out. So do that in any sort of meeting that's coming up, but particularly for that primary network.
Fantastic. Yes, Rose, if I send you the information, then that would be great if you could. That would get us a few more, and it might help us to reach some of those people that we haven't been able to reach before, and that would be brilliant, because you know, we know the difference. If you can get to the exact person that would be brilliant. Thank you so much. I must check I've got your email somewhere. Is it on the main circulation list, or if not, could you send it to me? Okay, that's grand. Thank you. So yeah, that's the information. Basically, in a nutshell, the networks are going really well. We are constantly looking to feedback about local and national developments, and in particular, helping them with things like free resources, good websites, speakers, all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really positive. It's a really good thing. So I will continue to monitor that as long as SACRE is happy for me to do so.
Thank you, David. We really appreciate all that you do for us, especially with the networks, because they are just a lifeline for those who access them. Okay, we move on to number 7.
Just really quickly.
Sorry, Claire.
Just while we were on schools, the care packages sent out, they've been sent out. They were the bane of my life for a couple of months, and may have recruited a couple of sick formers. My sick formers do tell me that I didn't send them out, they sent them out in their enrichment period on a Wednesday. But 78 packs were put together by hand, not my hand, and have been collected and sent out. And I've had a couple of really lovely emails from both head teachers, but also heads of departments. And Joe Eden actually did a talk to my trainees and waved the book in front of them. And it said that it's something that he wanted, but life got in the way of him ordering it. So very appreciative. So they have been sent out. And we are still planning to do the subject knowledge CPD, and we will get the process. Have personally had a couple of tricky months, and so coming out of the end of it now, and I've got more time and a better headspace. So that is my next project, is our CPD, because the local teachers really appreciated it.
Thank you, Claire, and please pass on our thanks to your willing slaves, just for their help. Yeah, that's been great. All right, shall we go on to number 7, which has got David's name against it, but I was actually the one who was at the hub meeting yesterday, so I'll start on it anyway. There is quite a bit to say, and this is the item where we have some decisions to make and perhaps a bit more discussion. So first of all, we're talking about the Real People, Real Faith videos. When I say that, could you just nod at me if you know what I'm talking about? Okay, just for those who don't, we received some funding, all the Sacrays together in Berkshire, we received some funding to make some videos in places of worship with faith leaders in order to use with Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3, using the questions that they need to address. So we've already done this. It's been a mammoth task, but we've done it with 6 places of worship in and around Berkshire, obviously a range of faiths. And we've got some money, we have some money left over. And so we have already, I'm just going to refer to my notes from yesterday, we've already paid for 3 more visits to a Catholic church, a Sunni mosque and an Orthodox Jewish synagogue. So obviously, you know, there are 6 main faiths in the world, but there's lots of flavors in each one. So so we're trying to get as broad a range as we can. So we've committed to those 3. And also there are notes that come out for teachers. Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 have different notes each in Key Stage 3. And the Key Stage 1 and the Key Stage 2 ones have been written. There's a teacher that is still working on the Key Stage 3 notes, bless her. You can see those. You can see under 7.3, it says continue to note berkshiresacrayhub.blogspot.com. You can see those videos. If you haven't seen them yourself, it's well worth just having a little look to see what we're actually doing. And you can see them there. And that's what we're using. We're hoping to do an Orthodox Christian church soon as well. And a humanist version. So we're sort of trying to branch out because we feel like this is something worth extending. So we're hoping to do Orthodox Christian Church, Humanist, Salvation Army, we thought would be good to do. I've been tasked to go away and find my contact with the Buddhist faith because I know a guy in Reading at the Buddhist Centre there, and also some free churches. So we've kind of got more in the pipeline, and there is some more funding for this coming from the Reading Faith Forum, which is really great. So it's good news on the videos, really, that things are beginning to get in train. But obviously, this is absolutely pointless unless teachers actually use them and know about them. So those of you who work in schools, please encourage this. I said to Penny Judge, who works with me here at our church, but also as a primary school RE specialist, I said, do you think anyone's actually using these? And she said, yes, but it could do with a bit more encouragement, really. So we would love teacher feedback, really, on them. You know, are they helpful? Again, Penny said to me today, and obviously I haven't, this is the first chance I've had to feed back on this, is that for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 children, it's lovely to see a faith leader in their place of worship, but what they would really like is for that faith leader to give them a virtual tour of the place of worship, so actually move around the building and show them various things, which, to be honest, we haven't thought about. So that is something I shall be feeding back to the hub as we go forward. So so those are the films. Can I just ask, has anyone watched any of them or got any comments on them that you've seen?
I used them today. I used
Congratulations. Thanks.
I used the Hinduism one, period 1 today, as we were starting Hindu practices, year 10. They really, really liked it. They're very harsh critics when it comes to videos, and they really liked it, and they liked that it was around the corner from them, and it wasn't. So although Neasden Temple isn't exactly 4,000 miles away, to some of my kids it feels that far away, so it was nice, a place that they recognise the name of, somebody who they realised they could bump into in the street. It was really nice. It was really nice.
Fabulous. Anyone else?
We've had positive, David, we've had positive stuff from the diocese on them.
Good.
Schools saying that they appreciate them, and we are trying to plug them, but you can only plug so far, and of course we've only got access to church schools, really.
Yeah.
I've walked people through them at networks and also put them in the newsletter, and I will continue to do that. And what I'll probably try to do when I do this next session on Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma is incorporate that clip with the people who come so that they get the chance to see it, and then hopefully use it.
Thanks. I think we do see them as quite important going forward, because it just enables children to see something that they otherwise wouldn't, and we do want to get it right. So especially if we're going to do quite a few more of these, we really appreciate feedback from teachers on how they are. Anything else on the films?
David, I would strongly encourage the hub to go down the virtual visits route, because that's just something that's brilliant across all the key stages. And it will also encourage people to visit when we are allowed to go out in the world again.
Yeah. Thank you. So that was 7.1. 7.2 is about the new syllabus. So here's the shocking news. If you're new on this group, every 5 years, we have this rather massive job to do, which is to produce a new agreed syllabus for West Berkshire. So obviously we all know that RE is the subject where we produce an agreed syllabus. The county schools teach to it, the academies don't have to, but if they're wise, they will do something very similar, and most of them do. So every 5 years, this is in our lap to organise, and for the last, actually, I don't know how long, but ever since I've been around anyway, we've done this in conjunction with the other sacres in Berkshire under the auspices of the hub. So this is what we are now starting to think about, because the next syllabus is due in 2023. And just to be clear on that, what we mean by that is that the syllabus review, because the process starts with reviewing your current syllabus, that process must begin during 2023 at some point. And the outcomes of that have to be either that a new syllabus is written and adopted, or that the current syllabus is tweaked and those tweaks are adopted, or that no changes are agreed. So there are 3 possible outcomes, really. The reason why the date has exercised our minds is obviously because during COVID, everything has stopped really and been slowed down, and teachers are under huge pressure now to get back up to speed. And I was with a group of head teachers this morning who were just saying, you know, it's as if everyone expects us to go back to full speed from nothing, and where's, you know, COVID fallout is still going to be with us for months and months and months and years, really. So it's they're feeling under that pressure. So we know we've got to start it in 2023, but there are some choices for us as a SACRE now, and these are the choices really. The process starts with a survey of schools and to see what they think. You know, what do RE teachers think about the syllabus? What changes would they suggest, if any? And we started that. We've sent out a survey, and we've only had 56 responses from the whole of Berkshire. And like I say, that's probably because teachers are absolutely snowed under. So we're thinking, oh, what do we do then? Do we continue with this survey and try and go ahead, and then we have this thing called an agreed syllabus conference, where we discuss all that data and then we come to our decisions as to what to do.
David, can I just interrupt a second? Very, very sorry. When you say we, are you talking about the hub now?
Well, it is the responsibility of each SACRE, but we can choose to do that within the hub. And we have.
It was when you. Sorry, I'm really sorry, David. It's when you said we've only had so many responses from the whole of Berkshire.
Yes.
You're referring to the hub at that point.
I am, sorry, yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around whether it's us as Berkshire SACRE or whether it's the whole West Berkshire SACRE, sorry, or the whole of Berkshire.
Sorry, so there have only been 56 responses in the whole of Berkshire.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, which isn't that many really. So one decision is that whether we go ahead with our process during 2022, which is what we were planning to do, or whether we postpone the process for a year really, and do that in 2023. And I have to tell you, the steer from the hub is that we do that. We actually delay for a year in order to give teachers that space to recover and catch up a little bit. But it is a decision for us. It's a decision for each SACRE as to what we do, because we can say, no, you know, in order to hit the deadline of summer 2023, let's say, for a new agreed syllabus, we ought to be getting going this year. But our feeling in the hub really yesterday was that we should delay. So that's one of the decisions that I have to ask you about. David, I know you've talked to Anne about this. I don't know whether you've got any more to say on that.
Yeah, I'll keep going around the blocks on this one, because we know that there's things coming up nationally. There's a Templeton project about the future of agreed syllabuses, that there's something going to come out next year that Stephen Pett's writing about that. There should be something coming soon that's a bit of an advice interim thing for SACREs that he's doing. But of course, the only thing to bear in mind about Stephen Pett is he's RE Today, who write about 80% of the SACRE syllabuses around the country and want everyone else to do it. So it's not exactly going to be an unbiased document, which is why it's quite important, I think, that our syllabus has resisted that move so far. But there are certainly things since our last syllabus that have changed, and we need to reflect that. So I'm of the opinion a tweak is a good idea, because what we did last time was pared it down to the absolute minimum, with the idea that we were going to write supplementary guidance, which of course we'd started to do, and then COVID knocked that into a hat. but we can now start to do that sort of planning again, which will help teachers exemplify the questions, and the really good questions that we thought long and hard about when we did the syllabus. We'll give them some materials and able to do that. And I know that Claire and Amanda and other teachers have already said that they'd be happy to help out with that. But I do think it's good to work within the hub and stay within the hub. I just think we have to be, so there are some areas in the hub that are more vocal than others, shall we say. And I think also the 56 across the borough, we shouldn't be thinking hard of people for a number of reasons. One, teachers are exhausted and have no time ever. Two, this isn't the only survey they're going to get bombarded with. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I get feedback surveys from the dentist now, from the supermarket. Anywhere you go, somebody wants to know how they're doing. That's the world we live in. So teachers have got heaps of these. So I think we've really made a good job of making it short and a succinct survey, but it's still at the end of the day another link they have to click and a box to fill. So again, I'll try and address some of that through networks with people who turn up.
Thank you. Any other opinions you want to express, anybody?
David, Amanda Bedding and Claire Hawkins have their hands raised.
And I even noticed this time. Amanda, go.
I'm a teacher in a West Berkshire school, but I have not seen this survey at all. So I was just wondering kind of when it was sent out and who it was sent to, because if I've not received a link and I'm, you know, a member of SACRE, I go to the network. So I've been looking out for this survey link and I've not seen anything.
It should have come through Janet, I think. Thank you. I'll check that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I wonder, are anyone else say the same? I'm just trying to look around. Chris, would you have seen this?
No, I don't know whether Rosanna might have done that, but William.
Yeah. Rosanna, can you hear us? Maybe not.
I can hear you. I don't remember seeing it, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Because that would be great, wouldn't it, if actually no one in West Berkshire had actually received it.
David, did Anne say when there was going to be a deadline? Are they going to keep it open for a little longer, the survey?
Yes, it's certainly not being closed down, you know, just like that. But let me just check.
Well, could we send it out with the information that Rose sends out?
Yes, let's do that. Okay, I will. Well, maybe. Sorry, Jess, are you able to just check with Janet about that?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah.
You should have had that, and that should have gone out.
It did go out a long time ago, though. The first time it went out, we are talking probably about 8 to 9 months ago. So, and I did put a link in one of the earlier newsletters, but it probably hasn't gone out recently. So it might be worth doing that again.
Okay. We still have this decision that we need to make as a SACRE as to whether we convene an agreed syllabus conference ourselves this year or whether we postpone it till next year. As I say, that's the recommendation of the hub chairs, but it's really a decision for us.
Can I just check, do you mean this academic year or this calendar year?
Academic.
As I'm very biased about the agreed syllabus with the work that David and I put into it and stuff, but I do still think it's got a long way to go. I just think trying to pin down teachers this academic year to talk about it might be difficult. And the start of next academic year might be better because I'm already getting dates through as a governor and networks and D of E and trips and all of that are all really ramping up in summer term. So from a logistics point of view, I would go with the second half of this year, but next academic year. Equally as well, over the next couple of months, it might be worth, I don't understand a lot about the survey, I'll be very honest, but it might be worth sending it out again in about a month or two, because I'm aware that our SLT are currently going through the national curriculum. They're meeting one-to-one with heads of department, and we have to defend our subject and our curriculum choices against the national curriculum. And for me, that's the agreed syllabus. And so I've had to send our agreed syllabus to my head of teaching and learning so she can read it ahead of next week for me to go, look, this is where I've met it. And schools who are due Ofsted in any minute will be having similar conversations with heads of department, ready for gained time as well in the summer term, particularly in secondary, where we managed to get rid of the exam years, and we get a bit more time to implement these things for September. So I think a lot of conversations are going to be had over the next 3 months about the curriculum and in-house curriculum and time. And so can we extend, as David said, check in on when that deadline is, allowing for those conversations to happen, and then penciling in a date for next academic year.
Right. Yeah, that's that. I think, having said it's this academic year rather than this calendar year, certainly the conversation amongst the others yesterday was very much in terms of in 2023 rather than in September 2022. Sorry, Tony, you had your hand up.
Chairman, yes, there's two things. One for David. We are a district, not a borough council, because we have a chairman of our council, not a borough. But I think delaying it to 2023 is a good time, because what I don't think we should do is start pressurizing teachers. You know, we've come off from the pressures of COVID and all the rest of it, and you know, I don't feel, well, I'm not involved with schools other than the odd school visit. We should be pressurizing our teachers at this time, really, and I think if we can delay it till 2023, it might be better. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Tony. Any other comments?
Chairman, Val.
Sorry, Val.
Yeah, I think we should be guided by the teachers, and we've got teachers here on our SACRE. So I really think, you know, Claire is the one we should be listening to. So we've heard from the hub, and they've obviously had access to teachers. And we're now hearing from Claire, who's in our meeting today. So I think there has to be some delay.
Okay, anyone disagree with that? Otherwise, I'm going to take it that we are in favour of delaying, and we'll go. It's trying to keep in step with the others, really, and yet reflect our own local concerns. So, okay, I'm going to take it that we're in agreement with that, and delay it unless anyone says. Thank you. So there was also something about funding. I'm sorry, I'm just reading my notes from yesterday now. It's asking teachers, really, the teachers among you, what training could be offered to you, because we do have some extra funding that hasn't been used on the hub, and we just got to talking about this question of what training could be offered to RE leads, how would it be best delivered, and what are the specific areas for improvement that you would like to see addressed. So I know that's quite a big question to sort of launch into a meeting. without you kind of having much chance to think about it. But I'll just read those again from the notes. But it does kind of feed into the syllabus review, really. What training do you think you need that will move you forward? What are specific areas for improvement? Well, how might training best be packaged or delivered? So, I mean, like I say, you haven't really had warning of those questions, so I could email them to you. But just in case, thank you, David.
Yeah, I'll just put them in the chat.
Yeah. I don't know whether anyone's got any quick responses to those, otherwise I can leave them with you.
I do, because this is something that we've been raising at the networks anyway, because we knew we had this pocket of money, and so we went straight to the teachers. The big thing that they said they wanted help on was subject knowledge, and particularly now that we are finally appreciated as a more academic subject, students can't just write, some Christians think this, other Christians think that, and so it's giving voices, also giving the denominations voices as well. I think, you know, it's important on both sides that students learn it, but also that people have their voices heard, and that's what we want to do. And so this is something that I'm working on and putting a plan together for the rest of the academic year, that they wanted speakers. They liked it being on Zoom because they could record it. When we had our Buddhist representative, he was a Zen Buddhist, and Sian at Maid Early found that particularly useful because she showed that directly to her sixth formers, and also she has showed it to my trainee teacher who is there, who doesn't have the best subject knowledge on Buddhism. I offered curriculum support, I offered pedagogy, because that is what I teach on a Monday. And they said that they feel confident in how they're teaching, it's what they're teaching. And so that was the big feedback. I'm happy to raise it again at the next network. I'm happy to offer it out in light of the new stuff that's come out with the lenses and the Dawn Cox book that we've sent to everybody, and happy to offer more curriculum support. But I will raise it again.
Thank you, Claire. That would certainly fit with the Ofsted move, wouldn't it, towards substantive, what is it, substantive, disciplinary and personal knowledge. So that would certainly fit with that. Any other teachers here want to comment? I think we just really want to know how to spend this money best. So that's the thing with the knowledge scope is so huge, isn't it, in RE? There's so much to know, and it's hard for, especially I always think primary leads, it's hard for them to all just know as much as they need to know.
Sorry, I just wanted to add something that comes up. The other RE leads that I speak to is about assessment. Assessment in RE in primary is quite tricky. We don't know exactly what it is to focus on, how we should evidence it. So something on assessment would be fantastic.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah. We can feed that in. Right, I think that is all from the hub. We organised ourselves another extra meeting so I could feedback what you've said here. So I will do that. And anything else, David, you think I haven't covered there? Oh,
sorry, I lost myself there for a moment.
Right.
No, I think that is it. But I do think it is. We are strong as a group. I think it is good that if we can try and all work together on this, and I think most people want to go in the right directions. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Thank you. So number 8 then is the newsletter, which David has kindly produced for us and is in the pack.
Yes, I keep struggling with the fact that it's supposed to be a newsletter and it turns into a news novella. It thumpingly huge, but it just reflects how much stuff is going on. In the last one that went out, there was reference to the Real People, Real Faith again. I do put that in as a bit of a regular, and sometimes I'll cut it down. What I'm going to start to do now perhaps is focus on a clip or two and tie it in perhaps with a festival that's coming up. So that would make it sort of sing a little bit more about its current situation. So I think I'll look to do that from April. Also, actually, the survey is there as well. The agreed syllabus review survey is there on the newsletter. It's on page 14 of your pack. So probably because it is such a hefty document, we know that sometimes scrolling down to the end of things when you don't have a lot of time can be hard to do. But I'd much rather they had too much material that was valuable than not enough. So yeah, we tend to try and put in a mixture of the local and the national. We've got some really good forums and networks and being set up across different areas that we are now being invited to. And so I think one of the positive things that did come out of the pandemic is that we are now able to get access to things going on around the country that perhaps we wouldn't have done before. So we were invited to the Southwest Sacre Conference, and in the past we wouldn't have done because we're not technically Southwest, but we're not that far away. So I said to them, well, you know, we're all doing the same stuff. Why don't we swing an invite? Hence that's come out, and so we can do that regularly now. All I would say again is if you've had the chance to have a look at it and you think something is missing or you think there's something you would like to see in there, then please do let me know. Next one should go out probably, I always look to get it with the end of the first or second week of the new term. So it'll be towards the end of April, I would think, next one. So anything you want sent through, please do, and I will endeavour to get it in there. If you have something specific you want put in, and you can write a little paragraph, that would help, because what I wouldn't want to do is undersell the importance of something because I didn't truly understand it. So if it is something you've got as an event, if you're happy to do a little sentence or something, that will help, and I'll just copy it and put it in.
Thank you, David. Well, there's a lot in there, like you say, and
yeah, I know.
Well, no, we're grateful for all that's in there. That's what I meant to say. Any questions on the newsletter from anybody? No hands that I can see. All right, so moving swiftly on then to Strictly RE. David again.
Yes, Strictly RE happens at the end of January. And if somebody had said to me when I was teaching that I'd spend an entire weekend on a virtual or physical conference talking about RE after having done so all day, every day, I would have absolutely thought that was never going to happen. But it is undoubtedly the event of the year at the moment for RE. I say at the moment because there are others being arranged. It is just so good. There's so many resources, so many ideas this year, and I know Amanda's nodding because she was there as well, so I don't know whether you want to say something a bit later about it, Amanda, but the things I always try to choose the sessions to go on that I think are going to benefit the schools and the teachers in my areas the most. So I went to lots of sessions about diversity in tradition, about the lived experience, so heard some absolutely brilliant talks about Hinduism / Sanatan Dharma, which is something we're going to come to fairly soon, about the relabeling of that, and starting to look at what we used to call principal religions. We used to look at them all in the same way, and that's now being deconstructed because, of course, you can't really compare something that's completely different, and it sort of loses the value if you do. So there was a lot of very good subject knowledge that would have come for teachers from that, and I'm rolling that out at all the different networks and newsletters and so on. Amanda, did you want to say anything about it, what you went to before I carry on? It might be nice for folk to hear what you thought.
It was well worth attending. It was absolutely fantastic, and the keynote speakers on both the Saturday and the Sunday were brilliant. Just hearing about on the Sunday, talking about the diversity and things, it was brilliant. And then on, I went to ones particularly to do with RE and Key Stage 1 from nursery to year 2, as showing progression through those year groups is something that has been spoken about through my networks. So I thought that would be really useful, and the ideas that were shared were really, really useful, and I'm going to be sharing them with a network that I'm going to be leading next week, and obviously sharing it throughout my school, and hopefully being able to use some of the ideas to obviously show the progress through the year groups. But it was really, really great, and I think I'll definitely be signing up to do it again next year.
Yeah, thanks. I know for a fact that I'm sort of sucked into this now. I think I've been for the last 4 or 5 years. One year it was actually at Heathrow, at a hotel on basically on the runway at Heathrow, and it's enormous. I think this year there were 350 teachers that came to this. It is a massive event, but it is so well run. But they have the whole Natre RE Today infrastructure behind them, so these guys are used to doing this. But there are some very good small scale conferences being run all over the place, and I'm going to as many of those, and I'm running sessions on lots of these. And again, what we find after this, resources are made available that we can then share, and I think that's really great. It is opening up a lot more, and we're able to share a lot more. Amanda hit the nail on the head. Progression is a word that's one of the current obsessions that's going on. This tends to happen in teaching and in RE teaching as well. You just have to show this idea of progression, of whether it's skills or content or whatever, and you're building this spiral curriculum that's going right the way through, so that the kids can build what Ofsted called substantive knowledge, which means basically the stuff, but the right stuff. It's the right content for them at that stage, for them to be able to develop a deeper understanding. So it isn't just necessarily looking at, say, a festival, but there's a whole lot more about the context, the story, the messages, the meanings, the symbols, how it's celebrated in a different way from one place to another. These are now ways of bringing it alive. So there's lots of stuff being rolled out nationally, and we need to roll that out to our people, because when you're teaching, you don't have time to do that because you're teaching. And I know that because I did it myself for years, but now I'm not. I can help, and that's where it's such an important thing that Sacre gives us that opportunity to support them in that way. But it was brilliant.
Good. Oh, it's great to hear of such enthusiastic reports, isn't it, of an event like that. Number 10 is equality and diversity. I have been trying to contact Pamela Voss to see if she can join us. I haven't heard anything back, actually. I don't know, is anybody in touch with Pamela Voss at all? Lynn, are you?
I can ask Pamela if you want, David. I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you. That would be lovely. I think.
Well, Rose works in the same team as well.
I'm not in the same team, but I can do. I mean, I have worked with her on diversity, so I'm happy to. Is it that she's not said whether she was coming or not to this, David?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm happy to do that.
I mean, unless she's given her apologies to Janet, which she may have done, but I haven't heard anything back. So we've added this item as a standing item, equality and diversity, each time. So we thought it would be quite nice just to hear from Pamela if she's got time to come, just not to come every time, but just to maybe to come once and tell us about her role.
So do you want me to do that, Lynn? I'm happy to do that.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
If you're all right, Rose, I'll drop her an email as we speak.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that takes us to our next meeting dates. So we did try before COVID, BC, we did try to visit places of worship, schools and the council in rotation. But obviously COVID's changed things, and Janet has said to me this, the next meeting can take place in person, but to accommodate attendees attending via Zoom, it will have to be a hybrid meeting, and these can only take place at the council offices due to technology requirements. But then she's also said, if there is a desire for a meeting to take place at an alternative location, then this will need to take place in person only. There could be a mix of in-person meetings and hybrid meetings throughout the year if wished. So I'm not quite sure what to draw from that. Either we can have in-person only meetings or we can't. I'm not quite sure which. Does anyone else, those of you on the council, are you a bit, can you clarify any of that? Because I think my feeling was that although Zoom is convenient, and it's particularly convenient for David from Bournemouth, it would be valuable. I don't know, perhaps you don't agree with this, but I think it would be valuable for at least one of our meetings in the year to be in person, because some of us have never met in person, and you just get a different feeling to the meeting, really, don't you? So
we definitely have the technology at Market Street to have a hybrid meeting.
Okay.
So we've set up all of the committee rooms and the chamber that you can link in, so you'll see the people in the room, as well as being able to the people on Zoom.
Yeah.
So I can confirm that bit, David.
Thank you very much.
We
Well,
also have, oh, sorry, David. We have the Roger Croft room as well, and that would mean that you could have it as a public meeting, so people could attend in person, and then members of SACRE could also join via Zoom if they wanted to. But with that room, it wouldn't be streamed by YouTube, so it'd be a public meeting that people could attend in person.
Yeah,
but not through the Zoom sort of channel. That makes sense.
Yeah, perhaps we ought to plan for that sort of thing for the next 2 meetings, at least. I mean, it would be lovely to think we could go back to a school, go back to a place of worship, maybe in time, but maybe we should go to the council, like you say, Jess, under those conditions for the next 2 meetings and kind of go bit by bit. Yeah. Shall we agree some dates then?
David, there's 3 people with hands up.
Oh, sorry, Billy.
David was first.
I'm sure you'll give way to you, Billy. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm just for having face-to-face meetings every time. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, David.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, I'm now very used to a virtual world. I totally get face-to-face is much better. It's just there's a difference between an hour-and-a-half meeting and a 5-hour round trip, but I suppose that is my own fault for living in Bournemouth. But I also know that some of the road networks around quite a lot of the areas people will travel in, do get snagged up at certain times of the day. And the times of the day they get snagged up is when we're trying to get there, basically for a SACRE. So what I would say is if we do go face to face, then obviously the summer months are better because you have a better chance of driving in slightly less unpleasant weather than the rest of the year. Yeah. But obviously, we'll go with the majority.
Someone else like Tony. You keep jumping around the screen, all of you. That's the trouble.
I know, it's dreadful, isn't it? I think it would be a good idea for us to meet, and I know Claire had a couple of meetings back thought it was a good idea that we did meet in person. I don't think it's a real issue in going to Newbury, to be honest with you. There is obviously a bit of congestion at the end of rush, the 5-ish leaving, really. I think getting there beforehand is not really a problem. And there are also plenty of places prior to the meeting to go for a coffee or whatever. So the various establishments there. So, it's not going to be, I don't think, an issue. You may get it on a racecourse day, but to be frank, I think it's nice for us to meet, and for somebody who might find it challenging, then if they wish to be remote, so be it, especially if they've got to travel long distances.
Robin?
Sorry, merely picking up a diocesan theme here, sorry. Should we be taking account of carbon footprint here? Particularly for some of those travelling a distance? Merely an observation.
Hmm. So can I suggest then that we do hybrid next time in Newbury at the council? Not expecting David to travel, so he can stay and join online, and anyone else who needs to do that. But those of us who would like to meet and smile at one another, that would be lovely. So, Jess, are you able to pick that up for us and book us a room?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you. So it's just a date then. How about May the 10th? How would that work?
Oh, no.
No good for me, I'm afraid. 17th is better for me.
Let me rephrase that. How about May the 17th?
That's a Friday. Is that okay? Oh, May. It's good.
May, even.
It'll be a Tuesday.
Sorry. Yeah, that looks surprisingly clear at the moment.
Oh.
Why is that?
Lynn can't. May the 17th.
And I can't make that in the late afternoon either.
Actually, I'm just looking, and I've got to be in for a meeting at 6:30, which is the same one as Tony on the 17th.
Right.
And I've got a meeting an hour before on licensing.
Oh, right, okay.
Which to do with taxes.
May the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm free.
Okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, is that okay with you?
No, you've got a full council that meeting that night.
Is it on the 3rd, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What about
Go with the 17th, and I maybe
I think we've got this full council was on the, I've got it in my diary. Have I made a mistake? On the 17th of May? Lynn?
3rd of May, Tony.
Oh, right, is it? Okay. What about Tuesday the 10th then? There's nothing appears to be on.
I don't think we could do that. So several other people couldn't do the 10th, I think.
Okay.
So, sorry, when is full council? The 3rd?
I don't know. It's in on the 3rd and the 10th. I'm just looking at my diary. We need to, you book and we may be there.
So 17th, you think is easier? Yeah. Okay. Shall we go for 17th then?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Is it worthwhile trying to do November as well?
It would be really helpful for me if you could, because those people do book way in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, can I go back, Chairman? Because I don't know where the taxi meeting will be held. If it's held in the full council, we might have to start it a bit earlier instead of, say, around 3:30. So we'll be able to do both meetings, plus a meeting we have at 6:30.
And I'll have to be at the licensing meeting as well.
Yeah, so we might have to meet a bit earlier on the 17th to hold a meeting. You know, if we started, say, about 3 or 3:30.
That the trouble with that is it cuts out teachers.
Mm.
Need their voice.
Yeah. I think I'd be a bit reluctant to go earlier. I think if we, so are you saying on the 17th we wouldn't get any councillors?
Definitely wouldn't get me and Tony.
No, and then I've got another meeting with Lynn after that. I mean, the other alternative is, I don't know about Monday the 16th.
That's usually staff meeting for teachers, but it's one of those days you can't get out of usually.
I can't do Mondays. I work until 5.
Do the 24th of May.
Is that not half? That's not half term. No, it's not half. No, that's right here.
Yeah, 24th of May, Chairman.
Yeah.
Somebody said no to that, didn't they?
No.
It's dodgy for me, but I'll see what I can do.
24th of May? Any
Yeah.
objections? Oh, okay. It's like 24th then. If David can.
If it's hybrid, I can do it.
Oh yeah, well, no, we will hybrid. Yeah.
So that'll be 4:30, Chairman, won't it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
Or 4:15. We used to do 4:15 if that works better.
4:15's good for me.
4:15.
Let's do 4:15 then.
Even better.
Okay, so 24th of May at 4:15. How about 8th of May? Sorry, 8th of November. 4:15.
I have Bracknell Sacre.
How about 1st of
Do you
November?
need to go to that one?
They're the ones who have to keep me in line.
Oh, okay.
1st of November?
Is that a Tuesday, I guess?
Yes.
Look at all the other bits and bobs. I think at the moment that looks all right. Yeah.
Anyone not? All right, let's put that in for now. 1st of November, 4:15 at the council, but also hybrid. Splendid. So in part 1 of the meeting, we've got to any other business. Has anybody got any other business for this part of the meeting? I am taking that as a no.
Chairman, you got Rosanna got her hand up.
Oh yeah, sorry, I pressed the hand a bit late. Hi,
Hi.
I just wanted to ask really, because the Willink are now hopefully proceeding with their first year of teaching REA level. So we're going with AQA syllabus, but I just wanted to really make links with any other schools within West Berkshire that are teaching REA level. And I know it might be a different example, but it might be great to just have a chat with, I don't know, other teachers about what's working and maybe some resource sharing. Yeah.
Rosanna, I'm happy to raise that at the network for you.
Awesome, yeah.
Little Heath have a very well established philosophy A level, but there's still a lot of crossover between that and the religious A level. I don't know about Deanfield, but I know
school will do it, Claire, or not? Do you offer it?
I'm at Garth and Bracknell, but I do offer it. I offer Educash, and I'm happy to chat to you at any time.
Yeah.
About A level, that's completely fine.
Awesome.
I'll drop you an email. Come up with that.
Excellent. Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosanna. Congratulations on getting A level going.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We've only got a small group, but just we will start small and build up slowly.
Yeah.
Hopefully be successful. We're going to specialise within the study of Islam, because that's my specialism, but then obviously the study of the philosophy of religion,
yeah,
which is the other component. So it's a really interesting course.
Yeah, great. Okay, any other business from anybody? Right, so we will now be moving to item 13 on the agenda. As the discussion of this item will include the disclosure of exempt information relating to the financial or business affairs of particular organisations, it is recommended that it is discussed in private under Part 2 arrangements.
Okay, please, can I have a proposer and a seconder to agree that the press and public leave the room in accordance with the Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972? Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Val. Okay, can I please ask for you to indicate by physically raising your hand if you're happy for us to move to Part 2? And I can confirm that that is approved. Thank you. Just wait for the host to confirm that the broadcast has stopped.